Hi guys. As I record this, it's nearly 20 to 6 on a Sunday morning, and I'm sure you've seen all of the footage of Christian Eriksen collapsing and all of the things that went on at the Parken Stadium in Copenhagen, which was very, very shocking. And I'm very, very pleased to hear that he's stable. Christian Eriksen is stable in hospital after his treatment. And obviously, my thoughts and prayers to him and his family. And hopefully he pulls through and makes a full and complete recovery. Obviously, there's lots of speculation about what happened, and whilst we've not had any official confirmation, the main crux of that speculation is that he suffered a cardiac arrest. Now, whether he did not, will remain to be seen. But it got me thinking. Now, my sons, until very, very recently, played for a local grassroots football team. And my daughter, as I record this, is in a junior team, which their first team operates at the fourth tier of English women's football. So, if you will, in the male game, she's sort of the equivalent of being at a club like Leyton Orient. So, but even so, it's still a grassroots club. And basically, I did a thing a little bit earlier this week where I was, and I stand by it, saying that the fine handed out to the 6 clubs in the Premier League that advocated the European Super League, that it was a paltry fine, and for them it is. However, £22 million, which apparently is going towards grassroots football, £22 million can buy an awful lot of defibrillators. You think about this, there's an awful lot of grassroots clubs up and down the country. And let's just suppose for a moment, God forbid, that you're standing there at a match, and there's lots of different matches maybe going on at one time. You're at a ground, there's maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, however many pitches, with kids, adults, boys, girls, men, women, whatever. And God forbid, one day you're there and someone collapses, just like Christian Eriksen did yesterday. And you're like, you need a defibrillator. Someone's had a cardiac arrest, and you need to give them a shock and get them sort of like recovered and get them to hospital and all the rest of it. And you haven't got one. There's no defibrillator around, and this person is struggling. God forbid. Now, I've been on the internet. I've done a little bit of digging, and I've managed to find that you can get defibrillators. And again, I'm going by what I've seen here, guys. So but there are defibrillators I've seen from £540 inclusive of VAT, 540 quid. So that 22 million can buy 40,740 defibrillators to be utilised and distributed to a multitude of grassroots clubs up and down the nation. Now, I know that an awful lot probably, of grassroots clubs have already got defibrillators at their grounds and whatever else. There are some, I know this, but there will be some that don't. And I'm advocating, if there's any good that can come out of bad, i.e. the good being that grassroots clubs can be given this equipment, life-saving, and hopefully it never ever needs to be used, but it's better to have it and not ever have a cause to use it than it is to have a cause to use it and not have it there in the first place. I would advocate that if there's any good to come out of bad, then it should be that £22 million fine that the Premier League and the FA gave to those 6 clubs should be spent on defibrillators, so that if, God forbid, anybody sees in front of their very eyes anything like what happened yesterday, then there's at least a way that that individual that is in trouble at that moment in time could be given a chance. Christian Eriksen is fortunate in some ways that he is a professional athlete, so he's a very fit individual, and he was in a football stadium that had medical assistance right there within a very short space of time. And as I say, I wish him all the best. Football allegiances, we can sit here as West Ham fans and go, he's ex-Tottenham, this, that, and the other. He's a human being. He's a human being. He has a wife. He has a family. He's a human being. And I do not wish him any ill whatsoever. But as I say, I just put myself, what if that had been, God forbid, a child or an adult at a grassroots game where there was no defibrillator? That person is going to be in an even worse situation. So as I say, I would advocate that there needs to be defibrillators at grassroots clubs, and in light of the £22 million that the Premier League clubs, the 6 clubs from the former ESL, that money goes to defibrillators for grassroots clubs up and down England. And to that end, I will shortly be putting this hashtag out, and I hope it gains a little bit of traction. Just as it says there, the hashtag's defibs for grassroots. I just hope that that some good can come out of bad, and like I say, Christian Eriksen can hopefully make a full recovery, and if there can be some defibrillators dished out to grassroots clubs up and down the nation that, like I say, hopefully never ever need to be used. But if ever the situation unfolds like what happened yesterday at the Parken Stadium in Copenhagen, and it happens at a grassroots club, that there's a defibrillator there on hand that can do its magic and hopefully stop someone from having to go through a really tragic event, and that it can save a life. That's it. That's all I want. Nothing more, nothing less. So that's me done. I've been going for 9 minutes, just over, and I hope I've got my point across. And as I say, I'm not a religious guy, I gotta say. If you are, then I would ask you to pray for Christian Eriksen. I'm not going to be hypocritical and pray myself, because as I say, I am not religious, so it would be quite hypocritical of me to say a prayer. But what I will you know, I will keep my fingers crossed and hope, and you know, that the medical team in Copenhagen hospital that Christian Eriksen's at can get him recovered and well. I would also, just as a further thing, is that if Christian Eriksen is back up and fit by the time that the European Championships are finished, and this is my opinion, I believe that the person that hands the trophy out to the winning captain at the final at Wembley ought to be Christian Eriksen, in my opinion. I'm not the guy that makes that decision, but in my opinion, that would be a really good touch to make, in my opinion, to a guy that a very, very short time ago, in the blink of an eye, went from playing an international game of football to fighting for his life. And I would advocate, in my opinion, that if he makes a full recovery, and fingers crossed he does, that he should be the guy handing the trophy out to the winning team at the final. That's me.